everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and it's still Khorne Week. So we are painting up the new Daemon Prince as a World Eater's Daemon Prince. Daemon Prince of Khorne. How many times can you say Daemon Prince in one intro? This guy was sent to me early by Games Workshop a little while ago as part of the Slaves to Darkness range. I didn't get around to painting him, and we'd already done one, so I've waited until now to get him done. But many thanks to them in order to facilitate Khorne Week even further. And well, we're going to jump in and start in painting him. He has been primed in Grey Seer, much like Angron was. And we're going to be starting off with the wings, as always with these winged characters. And the colour we're going to be using first is Black Legion. Now we're going to be applying this over the top of the wings of the Daemon Prince. Specifically over the top of the wing membranes. I'm just going to start with this one up here. And you just want to be careful that you don't have too much paint on your brush as you do this, because Black Legion does cover very nicely. However, gravity is a thing. If you have too much paint, it can all start to collect and then dry all blobby in a way that you don't want it to. So you just want to go back to the pot little and often. You want to wait until your brush stroke starts to kind of appear a bit brown on the model, and that's the indication that you need more paint. But otherwise, should be quite a satisfying time out. You see there how it starts to appear a little bit brown. You just go in and grab a bit more paint. So with that Black Legion all applied to those wings, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Nuln Oil and use this to shade them. So with that Nuln Oil applied inside and out of the wings, what we're going to do is we're going to dry brush the wings. And the colour we're going to be using for this first is Skavenblight Dinge. And we're just going to gently dry brush this across the facings of the wings, trying to pick out all of those ridges. So with that Skavenblight Dinge dry brush applied, we're then going to take some Stormvermin Fur, and we're going to gently dry brush this, much lighter than we did with the Skavenblight Dinge, over the top of the middle of each of the spines, or membranes. Just like this. So with that done, we're now going to move on from the wings just for a little bit. Well, not really, because we're going to be painting in the spines and we're going to be painting in the rest of the Daemon Prince's flesh. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a roughly 4 parts Cygor Brown to 1 part contrast medium mix. We're going to basically build up a puddle of Cygor Brown on our palette and then just add a little bit of contrast medium in there just to improve the flow. And what we're going to do is we're going to paint this over the top of, well, all of his skin. And this is because we're going to go for a really, really dark red. But then rather than kind of mix it up and then have to keep doing lots of mixes and trying to make it look consistent every single time, we're just going to do the brown first, and then we're going to do the red over the top. Get a really nice strong base of brown. When you're doing these spines, you want to do like I'm doing here. Make sure you get it all over. And when you get to the end, you're going to discover that you need to do the inside spine as well, so as not to get any drying marks at the foot of the wing. You just want to go around like this. As I said, over the top of all of his skin. And then once that's done, we shall return. So with that Cygor Brown applied to all of the skin, as you can see, including the tail, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Blood Angels Red and we're going to apply this over the top of all of the skin. It's going to give us a really nice dark browny red. So with that Blood Angels Red all applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Black Legion and we're going to apply this to a number of different details. So firstly, we're going to apply this to, well, all of our Daemon Prince's hair. We're going to apply it to all of his talons on his wings. We're going to apply it to his hooves. I'm going to apply it to any of the leather details. And we're going to apply it to this tabard just down here. So with that Black Legion all applied, it's now time to add the World Eater's armor colour. And the colour we're going to be using first for this is Baal Red. And we're going to be painting this over the top of everywhere we want to be red on his armour. So this is going to include areas such as this on the pauldron. It's going to include his leg armour, chest armour. What it's not going to include is this shoulder pad and this arm. And do those slightly differently. So with that done, just whilst we're waiting for it to dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take our roughly 2 parts Flesh Terrors Red to 1 part Shyish Purple mix, and we're going to apply this over the top of this arm and this shoulder. And so whilst we're waiting for that Flesh Terrors Red and Shyish Purple mix to dry, we're then going to take some Blood Angels Red and we're going to apply this over the top of our Baal Red. So with that Blood Angels Red all applied, we're then going to take some Sigvald Burgundy and we're going to apply this over the top of the shoulder and the arm. So with that done, we're then going to take some Black Templar. I'm going to do a little bit of blending on those darker bits of armour. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that Black Templar on our brush, and over the top of the large horn, just here, we're going to apply this Black Templar over the top of it, coming right down onto the shoulder pad itself. We're going to wash the brush, and then we're just going to brush away the black at the bottom. Like that, it's creating a bit of a transition. And then we're going to do the same thing on this one. Like that. Wash the brush. And then once again, just get in there and smooth it out. We're going to do the same thing on the other side of it. However, what we also need to do is over here on the gun arm, we need to apply a bit of Black Templar over the top of these spines. And again, we're just going to bring it down to around about that sort of distance. There, like that. We're going to wash the brush. And we're going to smooth out the transition. Like that, so you get this gradual fade up into the Black Templar. You cannot see that at all. So with that done, what we're now going to do is take some Ratling Grime and we're going to apply this over 2 areas. One is going to be the gun barrel. We can get this over the teeth around it as well. Like that. We're also going to apply this over the top of his horns. So with that all done, it's now about time to do some metallics, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to take some thinned down Runelord Brass, and we're going to start applying this over the top of all of the armour trim. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take Black Legion once again, and we're going to apply this over the top of all the cables. So with that now done, we're then going to take some Volupus Pink. I'm going to apply this over his tongue and over the top of his teeth. So with that now done, we're going to take some Skeleton Horde. I'm going to apply this over the top of all of the skulls. So with that Skeleton Horde applied to all of the skulls, we're then going to take some Iyanden Yellow, and we're going to apply this inside the 8-pointed star. Around here. So that Iyanden Yellow applied, we're then going to take some Iron Warriors, and we're going to apply this over pretty much all of our remaining details, except on the axe we still have one more colour to apply. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick out areas like the kind of main body of the blade, like that little section just there. We're going to pick out the blade itself. I'm going to pick out this little spike on the top, this kind of section, and this little bit here. So with all of that silver applied, our last base coat is going to be some thinned down Retributor Armour, and we're going to apply this over the top of the remaining areas on the axe. So with that Retributor Armour all applied, we've got all of our base coats now on the Daemon Prince. So it's time to add a shade. And the first one we're going to add is Agrax Earthshade. And we're going to apply this over the top of all of his metallics. All the silver, all the brass, and all the gold. So with all of that Agrax Earthshade applied, we're then going to take some Targor Rageshade. And we're going to apply this over the top of the brass, just to take it down a little bit extra. And also add a little bit of extra colour in there. And so with that Targor Rageshade applied, we then take some Nuln Oil. We're going to apply this over the top of the unnatural black details. So we're going to apply it over stuff like this tabard here. Like that. And apply it over the top of the cables. Like that. And that's kind of it. Not a ton of unnatural black details on him. So with that done, our Daemon Prince of Khorne of the World Eaters, our World Eaters Daemon Prince of Khorne is now at what I would call a Warhipster battle ready, and he's looking pretty fantastic already. But we're not going to leave him there. No, we're going to take him to the next level. I'm going to do this by adding some highlights. Now the first one we're going to add is Word Bearer's Red, and we're using this to highlight all of our Daemon Prince's skin. So this is going to take a little while. You just want to take it nice and methodically, a section at a time, picking out all of the edges. Now you could dry brush this if you want, if you are as much more precise a dry brusher than I am. But I'm going to do it this way, so I want quite stark highlights on this dark red skin. So with that Word Bearer's Red applied to all of his dark red flesh, what we're going to do is finish it off. And the colour we're going to be using for this is Squig Orange. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to pick out the sharpest points around his skin and wings and all that kind of stuff. So, for example, just up here on the wing, you just want to hit these areas like I'm doing. So with that done, all of the skin is now finished. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a teeny tiny little dot of Iyanden Yellow. I'm going to apply this over the top of his eyes. His very tiny little eyes. So with that Uriel Yellow applied to his tiny little eyes, we're going to then take some Screaming Skull and use this to pick out his teeth. So with those teeth highlighted, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Agrax stone. I'm going to use this to highlight his hair and his beard. So with that Agrax stone applied to the hair and beard, we've actually only got one last thing left to do on him, and that's these two little black horns and the big Ratling Grime horns. But before we can do that, we might as well do the rest of the black details, because the spot highlight is going to be the same across all of it as it is going to be on these horns. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Dawnstone. We're going to use this to highlight all of our black details. I'm just going to start just here. I'm going to make my way around the model. And so with that Dawnstone all applied, we then take some thinned down Administratum Grey. I'm going to add this to the sharpest points. Still continuing with the Administratum Grey, we're going to be using this to highlight our Ratling Grime areas. So our little gun barrel just here, like that, as well as the horns. So with that done, all of the black is now finished. So what we're going to do is move on, and we're going to take some thin down Wazdaka Red. I'm going to use this to highlight our darker sections of armour, so the arm and the shoulder. So with that Wazdaka Red applied, what we're then going to do is once again take some Uriel Yellow. I'm going to apply this over the top of the eyes. And so with that Uriel Yellow applied, just like with the Daemon Prince's face, we're going to take some Screaming Skull and use this to pick out the teeth. And with that Screaming Skull applied, we then take some Cadian Flesh Tone. We're going to apply this to the sharpest points in both of these sections. Just like this. So with that done, the shoulder and the warp bolter are now finished. So what we're going to do is move on to the red armor. And the color we're going to be using to highlight this is Wild Rider Red. And there's not loads of this, believe it or not. But what we're just looking to do is pick out the few available edges, such as those ones there. And there. We have one here. There's that little nick. And we've got the edge down here. And these rivets. Just like this. And with that Wild Rider Red all applied, as you can see, we're then going to once again take some Cadian Flesh Tone. I'm going to use this on the sharpest points of the red armor. So with that Cadian Flesh Tone now applied, all that remains is the metallics. That's exactly what we're going to do now. So we're going to take some thinned down Canoptek alloy. I'm going to use this to highlight all of our brass. And I'm just going to start here on the shoulder, picking out all of the edges. So with that done, as you can see, the model takes a huge leap forward towards looking finished. It's actually very, very close. So what we're going to do now is we're going to keep getting closer to finishing it off. And we're going to take some thin down Liberator Gold. I'm going to use this to highlight the gold of the axe. So with that Liberator Gold all applied, we then take some Iron Hand Steel. I'm going to use this to highlight all of the silver. So with that done, the Daemon Prince is very nearly finished. We've just got one last thing to do, and that is to sort out that rune just there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Lugganath Orange. I'm going to thin it down a little bit more than we would normally, sort of 3 or 4 parts water. And we're just going to drop this, just position it so that I think you can see it. We're just going to drop this in over the top of the yellow. And it doesn't matter if you overlap with the edges a little bit. If anything, that's kind of what we're after. So with that Lugganath Orange applied, I've also added a little bit of this over the eyes of the axe. And what we're going to do, just to finish him off, is we're going to take some Gryph-Hound Orange. We're just going to drop this over the top. And so with that done, our World Eater's Daemon Prince of Khorne is now finished. There's only one thing left to do, and that is the rock and his base. And well, we're just going to do this in the same style as the rest of the World Eaters. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Ratling Grime, and we're going to apply this over the top of the rocks. And with that done, we're then going to take some Flesh Tearers Red, and we're going to apply this over the little rivulets. So whilst we're waiting for that Flesh Tearers Red to dry, we're then going to take some Skeleton Horde and we're going to apply this over the top of the skulls. So with that done, what we're then going to do is take some blood for the Blood God, and we're going to apply this over the top of the Flesh Tearers Red, like this. So with that blood for the Blood God applied, we then take some Astrogranite debris, and we're going to apply this over the top of all of our negative space around the base. So with all of that astrogranite debris now applied and dry, I've started the rimming of the base with some Iyanden black, but that bit's entirely optional. What we're going to do is we're going to take some black Templar. I'm going to apply this over the top of all of the astrogranite. So once all that black Templar is dry, we then take a dry brush of Tyrant Skull and apply this over the top of all of the astrogranite, all of the rock, and we try our hardest to avoid the blood. But if we do get any on the blood, we'll just go back in with a little bit of blood for the blood god and sort that right out. And so, with that, all that's left is to add some tufts and to finish off the rim of the base. And we have a finished World Eater's Daemon Prince of Khorne. And so with his base complete, our World Eater's Daemon Prince of Khorne is now finished. And I think he looks absolutely wonderful. I'm really, really, really proud of this guy. And, well, it's tough for me to choose which one I prefer between this one and the first one we did. The first one wasn't a Daemon Prince of Khorne, it was an undivided Daemon Prince, but they both had quite large elements of red. This one in particular. I really love it. I hope you like it too, and I hope it gives you some guidance when painting your own Khorne Daemon Prince, be it for Age of Sigmar or indeed for 40k. Really cool. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you want to support me further like these legends and bosses on the screen before you, you can do so. Head to patreon.com/Warhipster or head to ko-fi.com/Warhipster. Alternatively, you could become a YouTube member by heading to the channel page and clicking on the join button just here, just like these amazing, wonderful people have done. And if you really like this video or you just want to shoot me some support, you can click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.